and friends and neighbors, or shall I say this afternoon.
Welcome back to the Steelers franchise on Madden 22. I'm your host, longtime listener. Be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and comment below. We are coming off 3 straight wins, so the Steelers are starting to heat up as we get into the late stages of the season. Now, there are some things that we need to try and knock out before we jump into this week's action, but we will be simming this game on the road against the 49ers. So I'm going to try and just kind of get through the grindy stuff of these re-signings, etc., to see if we can figure out how to shorten this up to the point where we can get, the game in as well as all of the stuff in between, especially considering it's going to take me a little bit of extra time to get through this stuff between weeks. So bear with me, and then we'll try and at least get to where we're ready to sim for the 49ers game, and we'll go from there. Okay, I did want to at least show you some of the player upgrades that we're going to get here, because we get a big one with Grant Crawford. We're going to continue to work on his throwing accuracy, so the field general is the one that we're going to want to keep trying to emphasize on that front. I did re-sign Dwayne Haskins, so we've got the backup quarterback situation figured out. Levi Jackson also getting an upgrade at left tackle. I wish I could pick one for durability. And then the rest of these, nothing that's like earth-shattering with these 4 that you see here, even Deshaun Kaiser. But Kevin Dotson also going to get one. That's big because he's getting to be a pretty good left guard for us at a 79 overall as a power blocker, and a little bit balanced as well in terms of being able to pass block. But the rest of these, nobody that's like, game-changing upgrades there, but just noteworthy that we've got a bunch of upgrades between weeks here. Now, we also have a bunch of staff points to spend, so we're going to go ahead and get some of these upgrades done on the player personnel tree. This is going to have us where we're unlocked to go farther down this tree here, where we're going to get increased likelihood of corners and wide receivers or tight ends signing with us through free agency, then finally quarterbacks, and then after that, we can unlock the ability to re-sign a player who, like once per season, who we were trying to negotiate a contract with, and eventually they just say, no, we're going to test out free agency. You can unlock that negotiation process once per season, which is big because there's occasionally a scenario where there's a guy that we want to bring back. We make a couple offers trying to get him down to a number that we think is fair, and he just says, nope, see you later. We don't necessarily want that. So it'll be nice if we can eventually get down through that tree all the way. Now, the other noteworthy item before we play the game against the 49ers is that Dan Moore is healthy again, so he's going to slip back in at right tackle. And now, actually, let's go back and just look at the injury report and where things stand on that front, because I think we're getting to be pretty healthy at this stage. Do we have any key injuries or anything along those lines to be aware of? Because I think we're doing pretty well here. Yeah, okay, so Ebron is still out for a few weeks, and then Quincy Shields is going to be back next week, coming off of that abdominal tear. So, that said, we're going to go ahead and advance the week. I think we're ready to go here, and we'll see if we can take down the 49ers on the road without actually even have to play the game. Another thing that I will point out, I tried to do a video to demonstrate what would happen if you put the injury slider on 100. Actually, we'll talk about that later. Because you see there, we won against the 49ers. And now that I think about it, I am actually going to explain what happened when we did the injury slider all the way up to 100. I played a game, just like an exhibition game, through the entire first quarter. There were 0 injury timeouts. So, like, I'm in there and I'm trying to make the video and do some commentary on it that's like kind of setting the stage for what I think is about to happen. And then it was nowhere near what I expected. Like, it had the opposite effect. When we put that slider way up, nobody was getting hurt. So I can't explain it. But the bottom line is it did not do what I thought it was going to, which is almost a disappointment because now it's like, well, heck, why don't I just put it on 100 and then I know what'll happen if I do. Then all of a sudden the game will be broken and every play somebody will get hurt. Anyway, you can see here we're sitting here with the 5 seed, so the Browns are currently the number 1 seed. And we look at the records here as far as the standings. Are we close to them? Yeah, we're a game back. So we're right there in the mix to potentially get that first round bye. But we've got Seahawks at home, then the Texans on the road, Bengals at home, and then the Browns at home last game of the year. That could be a really big one if things unfold to where we go into that game tied or with me behind by a game, but I would win the tiebreaker kind of scenario. So we'll have to see how that goes. All right, Joe Hague, 66 overall. He's 30 years old, my backup right guard, and really he's a tackle, so we have him kind of out of position anyway. We're just going to let him go. And then the same thing for Miles Killebrew. We're not going to bring him back at his age and that ability. There's just not a lot of need for that kind of guy on this team. So we're only going to be losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. And since we've got 7 draft picks, we hypothetically don't need to do anything in free agency this offseason, which is kind of nice. Because it'll keep our salary cap kind of in check. Now, let's see here. Let's go to weekly strategy and get that set for this matchup against the Seahawks. Actually, before we do that, let's go look at the schedule and take a look at the box score. I don't know if we even looked at the box score against the Rams. I feel like we did. But we'll take a look here at both of them just in case. So we go to team schedule. And on down here to the Rams. Box score. So we ran the ball well, threw the ball well. We kind of stopped the run. They threw it for a ton of yards, but we ended up getting the victory. We won the turnover battle. And now let's take a look statistically. Grant Crawford was pretty good. I think we did look at this because now I kind of remember those numbers, but maybe we didn't. Running the ball, Najee Harris, a big day despite only 12 carries, gets over 100 yards and a touchdown. I like it. And then our next closest rusher was Crawford, 4 carries, 6 yards. That's probably kneeling it at the end of the game a few times. But anyway, Deontay Johnson, a nice day. And Jefferson had a pretty good day for them. So did Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. So they put up some yards through the air. Chase Claypool, 5 catches, 90 yards. So anyway, we get the win. Let's just look at the defensive side. Devin Bush looks like he led the team in tackles, including 3 for a loss. What about sacks? Aaron Donald had 1.5. TJ Watt got another one. Buggs got 1. And for interceptions, Bush and Witherspoon got 1. And then Kaiser, or how do you say that? Kaiser? It's a weird spelling. Anyway, that's that one. And for some reason, I've got to come back down through the entire list here. Oh, crap, my boss is calling. Okay, sorry about that. And now, where were we? Let's look at the box score for this 49ers game. Kind of low scoring. We did a great job shutting down their offense. Didn't run the ball all that well. Kind of limited in the passing game. But, you know, we did a decent job taking care of the football. We were converting on some third downs, even a fourth down. And then just doing a good job keeping them out of the end zone, frankly. Won the time of possession battle. Let's look at the player stats here. So Grant Crawford was sharp again. 253 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions, and then his completion percentage was actually pretty good at 68. Not bad. We did a good job keeping Trey Lance in check. So I guess old Jimmy G is gone from that equation now. Tony Pollard, decent day. Najee Harris was bottled up all day for the most part, but he did get a touchdown, so that's cool. How did we turn the ball over? It must have been like a completion and then a fumble, because I didn't see any interceptions, but yet we had a turnover. Deontay Johnson, another decent day. Chase Claypool getting her done. And I like seeing Pat Freiermuth getting a bunch of catches and a touchdown. That's good to see. Juju hasn't really popped up on the radar in these couple of games that we've simmed. So what's up with that? All right, defensively, Mo Hurst leading the team in tackles. He was a former Raider. And I always thought that he had a chance to be pretty good, and they never really had that develop. All right, Chauvert, 8 tackles, led the team. How about tackles for a loss? Devin Bush had another one. Mo Hurst with 4. Dang. How about sacks? Zach Monroe, the rookie, getting a couple. He's been solid for us. So I'm happy with what we're getting from him so far. And then for interceptions, Witherspoon had another one. I don't know how we lost the football on a turnover, but it had to have been like on a kick return or something. Evans was 1 for 1, hit a 41-yarder. They had a little chip shot, which is good because that means we stopped them short of the end zone. 1 punt, a net of 34 yards. So, not the greatest, but whatever. And I guess that's all we need to see. So, good job, team, picking up another victory. And now, who do we got next? At home against the Seahawks. We've got 4 straight wins put together here, which is freaking awesome, y'all. But when I have to sit here and sim through these games, unfortunately what it's going to mean is that it's going to take me long enough to kind of talk through these that we're probably not going to be able to get an actual game in as far as gameplay. So apologies for that, but I don't want these episodes being 2 hours long. That's, that's just the way it is. So, sorry, I got a message there. All right, against the Seahawks, they like to air it out. Yeah, let's go ahead and shut down the deep pass. I don't feel like Russell Wilson throws it down the field a ton, but I don't watch the Seahawks enough to know that for sure. They don't blitz a lot, so let's get away from the blitz counter, and let's go instead... Let's try and run it to the outside, away from Bobby Wagner, and see if we can't have a decent day on the ground. Actually, no. They're good against the run, but suck against the pass. So let's go, throw it medium, maybe. See if that helps. And then for the team training... Okay, so Quincy Shields is back. And who else was still out? Ebron, I think. So we're getting healthy at the right time. Let's go pass for 275. Let's try and get some more sacks, and let's throw 2 touchdown passes. All right. We only have 13 staff points. I don't think that's enough to get me farther down the talent tree, so we won't need to do anything there. Let's see if we've got any player upgrades. We do. So the Seahawks are 7-6 coming into this game, which makes it a big one for them. Okay, so Joe Chauvert gets one. That's nice. Let's actually go with, he's decent at run stopping. Let's keep emphasizing pass coverage since he's going to be doing a lot of that in our 4-3 scheme. Quincy Shields, we're going to just keep on emphasizing stuff in the run. He's already turning into a pretty good player. If we can keep him healthy, man, he's a nice asset for us. Anthony McFarland, just keep improving the elusiveness. Nate Hervig, our backup guard. He's decent on the power front. Let's go with pass protection, just to try and get him a little bit more balanced. And then finally, Devin Bush. He's still pretty young and turning into one of the best middle linebackers in all of football. He's 25 years old and already 88 overall and pretty balanced at that. So, that's awesome. All right. I think we might be ready. Oh, no. We got Quincy Shields coming back from injury, so we need to take a look at the depth chart. And let's actually run down through the depth chart just to make sure nothing else squirrely has happened since we last kind of checked on it. I don't actually. Let's just make sure. I guess we'll go one at a time here. We're good there. Good at halfback. Good at fullback. Now wide receiver is going to be Johnson, Juju. I'm almost considering putting Claypool in here. He's got better speed than Juju, which makes him probably the better option at wideout. And use Juju in the slot maybe a little bit more. But I kind of like having Deontay Johnson as my go-to slot receiver. So Juju is becoming the odd man out here, is what it's coming down to. But it's all right. Freiermuth, I still think we need to emphasize him over Moreau. Left tackle is going to be Jackson with Okorafor backing him up. Then we've got Dotson, Kendrick Green. I think we might draft a center in this draft. Trey Turner, because with Green sitting at about like a 76 overall or whatever, if there's a really good center, they're probably like a 77 or 78 overall, somewhere in that neighborhood, and might have a star dev trait, so we'd get an upgrade right there. All right, don't need to do anything there. Obviously, Zach Monroe. D-tackle, we're good. We're still not, like, dominant at defensive tackle, but we're okay. Keep trying to maybe beef up at that position. Good there. I'm really thinking that we might need to do something here. I was kind of hoping this guy would be a steal, and he's not bad, but he's probably not ready to be the everyday starter. And then at corner, we're good for now. Obviously, we're good at free safety with Minka. And then Edmonds at strong safety. We're going to need a backup for him, but he's still pretty solid for us. All right, kicker, punter, don't need to worry about. Kick returning is still going to be Ray for the foreseeable future. I don't care about kickoffs or long snapping. Doesn't really matter. Third down back, we stick with Najee. He's pretty much our every down back, is the bottom line. Now, in the slot, like, it's got Chase Claypool in there. Let's put Deontay. That will mean when Johnson comes into the slot, Juju will jump in as the preferred wideout. Yeah, let's just do that. Now at left end, Watt. Right end will be Monroe. D tackle is going to be Quincy. Yep, we're good there. We're good there. And slot corner, we're good. All right. So we didn't need to do a whole lot, but it's worth checking on that stuff every once in a while, because with injuries and then guys coming off of the injury list, sometimes squirrely things will happen. All right, so we're 9-4, taking on the Seahawks, and again, a critical game for them at 7-6. They don't want to fall back to 7-7, because then you almost feel like you need to win out to get into the playoffs. And we've whooped them. Heck yeah. The Browns won again, though. All right, so how about, let's check out weekly awards. What happened here? Grant Crawford, 277, 4 TDs. Have a day, my man. His season is starting to come together after a pretty rough start. He has turned it around. And it's mostly been weeks where I haven't been controlling him. Now we're on the road, but we got Houston, who is 3-11. And we've got 5 straight wins, which means we'll probably lose. But All right, we're going to come in here. Any fear that this is a trap game? No, no fear. Not at all. It's the NFL and everybody's a threat. We stress that week in, week out. Second you overlook an opponent is the second you make headlines for getting upset. Texans, okay, they're struggling. All players will have -5 break, tackle, play recognition, and tackle for this game. Now, is that their players or my players? Salt in the wound. Don't lose to the Texans is basically the summary of that exchange. Now, all right, so our weekly strategy is probably going to have to be try and stop Deshaun Watson. Right? So let's defend the deep pass. They don't run the ball well, so yeah, we definitely need to try and focus on stopping the pass. Offensively, they are the worst in the league against the run, so yep, we are going to run it down their throats. Team profile, let's go ahead and set these to correspond with those goals that we just set. So yeah, first downs, run for 150, let's get some sacks, and let's get a pick. All right. So we have now won, what, 5 in a row? So simming 3 straight games and this team continues to win. We'll need to go in and look at the box score from last week before I forget. So let's go do that. Obviously we saw that Grant Crawford had a big day. I wouldn't mind going and looking at his stat line for the season now, because it's probably turning into a pretty good year. Like, they threw it for a ton of yards, but it did not translate in terms of points because we got some turnovers, baby. And I'll bet you a lot of those were them. Actually, no, we were behind at halftime, and then blew them out in the second half. Yeah, 2 picks, 7 times we sacked him. That's a huge day for Grant Crawford, though. 4 TDs, no picks, and only sacked 1 time. How was his completion percentage? 72. That is a strong day. Another rough day for Harris, but he did get a touchdown to save those fantasy owners. Grant Crawford, 3 carries, 17 yards. Big day for Lockett. Johnson, Freiermuth, 2 touchdowns, 78 yards. He's playing well. Claypool got a touchdown, so he stepped up when we moved him to the starting wideout position. All right, so tackles, Cam Sutton. So our corners leading the team in tackles. That's interesting. Let's see who got all these sacks. Dude, Zach Monroe. He's got to be due for a breakout scenario or whatever. He's killing it, man. Schobert, Watt, O'Neal. Bugs got a half a sack. Who had the picks? Probably Witherspoon. No, Lane and Bush. Holy crap. This team is just on fire. And Zach Monroe is a huge, huge boost for us. Playing that well as a rookie. He's starting to look like he's going to be a monster in the pass rushing game. All right, so what was I going to look at? I want to look at, where is it? Stats. I want to look at Grant Crawford's numbers. Let's see here. So he's at 3,100 yards, 21 TDs, 12 picks. So the 12 picks are still a little high, but he's gotten that under control, and he's only been sacked 22 times, completing 66% of his passes, and that QB rating is a little lower than where we'd like it. But again, he was not very good through about half of the season, but has really turned it on lately. So I can't complain too much about what he's done, especially considering he's our starting quarterback, and we are now 10-4 on the season. So he's doing something right. All right, upgrade players. Who we got? Johnson, Freiermuth, and Harris. So some of our key players here getting even better. We'll keep going with the route running. Johnson is starting to turn into an absolute stud, y'all. So we've got some serious weapons on this team. Our offensive line is getting better to where, you know, I'll have more time for these receivers to get open, make big plays. Like, our offense, I feel like, is really good right now. You know, the one exception, if you call it that, is that we do have a young quarterback that's a little bit of a wild card. But when he's playing well, this team is going to be tough to beat. And it says that our defense is the strength of this team as well. So we're a contender this year for sure. All right, manage staff. Yeah, we've got some staff points, so let's go spend those. And then we'll jump in and hopefully beat the Texans and just keep this win train rolling. We'll get all the way to the playoffs, y'all. I don't care. All right, let's go over here. It doesn't really matter at this point because I don't plan on... Well, cornerbacks are the one that I might go after in free agency. I don't see us going after wide receivers or tight ends anytime soon. Unless Ebron leaves and we need like a third string tight end. We go out and snatch somebody that's like a, you know, low 70s or high 60s overall that's good at run blocking. Okay, now we've got managed staff is done. I think we're ready to roll here. Let's do it. Our strategy is set, right? Come on, please, please, please do not get beat here. Because if we get beat, I think it has an adverse effect because we come in playing a cold opponent or whatever. We don't need that as we get close to the playoffs here. We pulled it off. 35-28. The Browns won again. Dang it. That's going to keep me in the number 5 seed because we're not even a division winner. So we're going to, you know, oh, not the Patriots again. They beat us last year. That's a revenge game at least. We've got enough staff points for another upgrade, so we'll get to that in a minute. So we come in here. We got the Bengals and then the Browns. All right. I know we expected to win that game. Blah, blah, blah. Better them than us. Everybody gets 1,000 XP. That's nice. Now, here's the deal. If we win again against the Bengals here, we're still going to play that Week 18 game against the Browns because it's going to be a really important game. And I'm not simulating it. So, we've got one player ready to negotiate. I think it's Miles Killebrew who we are going to just cut loose. Is that right? Yep. We don't need you anymore, sir. Thank you for your service. And now, let's get into Week 17. But before we do that, let's look at the box score for Week 16. All right. So the team is on fire. We're putting up a bunch of points. We took down the Texans on the road. We did it through the air, though. We did not run the ball like I had hoped. Our defense did a good job. We turned the ball over once and did not create any turnovers. So Crawford threw another pick, but he was still pretty good. 336 yards, wasn't sacked, and he was 31 of 42. So pretty good numbers. The interception is the one blemish. Najee Harris, again, kind of struggling to move the ball in big chunks, but he gets 3 touchdowns. Hard to complain about that. Nothing else really on there that's notable. Big day for Deontay Johnson. Obviously, they had a hard time covering him. Claypool, again, 68 yards. He gets a touchdown. So he's stepping up. But look here. Juju, 4 catches, 60 yards. So he's not exactly like just, you know, AWOL at this point. Where's Freiermuth? Dang, 1 catch for 6 yards, dude. Whatever. All right, so tackles. Our leading tackler was Jackson. I don't really care about tackles for loss, but I mean, whatever. Sacks. TJ Watt had 1. Who had the interception? Tracy Walker. He's a good player. All right. Now what? Let's look at our strategy for this week, I guess, is probably what's next on the to-do list. Yep. So we've got the Bengals. It's like this is must win for them, I would imagine. They might not even be still on the bubble for the playoffs at 7 and 8. But you never know. Okay, so they are not good against the run necessarily. But we haven't been running it well lately. So let's go. They blitz a fair amount. Let's go blitz counter and emphasize throwing the football a little bit more than conventional wisdom might suggest. And we're doing that just because of how we have been playing lately. Alright, so as always, we want 15 first downs. We're going to sling it all over the field. We're going to sack Joe Burrow, and we will get an interception today. Let's do it. We should have some more player upgrades because of those extra XP that we got for beating a terrible Texans team. But let's take a look at that and see what we're dealing with. All right, Loudermilk, Snell, Kendrick Green, Levi Jackson, Dan Moore, Nick Morrow, the kicker, Jason McDonald. I'd like to see that. Trey McDonald. Ooh, or Trey Norwood and Minka Fitzpatrick. So I'll do all those. Actually, you know what? We can just watch it. At this point, the episode's still going to be kind of short anyway because we're not going to play a game. So we'll just go through these. And then, let's see. For Kendrick Green, I want you to be a little bit more balanced. And the reason that I'm thinking about this is because if I draft a center, I don't want to have like this debate over who to start. If they're both about a 77-ish, then I probably start the rookie, assuming he's got a star dev trait or a hidden dev trait. So that's why I just kind of want Kendrick Green to be as balanced as possible because he's going to be a really good backup and still pretty young. Levi Jackson, we'll emphasize power, I guess. He's coming along pretty well, but again, I need him to stay healthy, and that has been a challenge. Dan Moore, I need him to be better at pass protection. If you're going to play tackle, I need you to be able to pass block so that Grant Crawford has more chances to use his legs, whether it's running or just scrambling out of the pocket. Nick Morrow, keep going field general. He's a pretty good backup option, honestly. Mid-70s is pretty solid. Edward Evans, keep emphasizing power. He gets probably awareness, yep. Not that big of a deal. Jason McDonald, I need you to be better at pass coverage. Trey Norwood, also a decent option as a backup, but not the greatest. Alright, and now we've got Loudermilk. He's not really a scheme fit for this team. Even though it says he is, what I want out of defensive ends is pass rushing. It's okay if you're also a little bit oversized to where pass rushing is not necessarily your strength, but let's help him get better at receiving. He's good enough as an elusive back that I don't feel like I need to push it too much considering he's my backup anyway, but I want him to be a little bit more well-rounded. So, all right, that's all of our upgrades there. We got 22 staff points, so we can get another one down the personnel tree, I believe. What? All right. Let's go here. Boom. And that's that. So we're almost to the bottom of that one as well. So that's cool. What else do we need to do? Are we there? Any injuries? Ooh, okay. So Ebron is coming back. So our team is completely healthy right now. Can we get to the playoffs and keep it that way? So Ebron steps up to the top. Freiermuth, yeah, I think that's how we just kind of need to leave it. I wish Freiermuth had a little bit more speed than 79, but it's all right. You know, like Foster Moreau is the kind of, he's closer to the kind of speed and agility ratings that I'd like to see in a tight end that I can use in the passing attack. But Freiermuth gives us a pretty well-rounded option there, frankly. All right. Can we get one more win coming into this matchup against the Browns? It'd be nice if the Browns would freaking lose. They'll lose, and so will we. Watch. Ready? Are we going to get the win? Ooh, we did. But the Browns won again. Now, I don't know if I can pass them. Like, I wish it would have, like, you know, playoff scenarios instead of just the playoff picture. But let's look at it just to see if anything changed as far as who we will play. Nope, still the Patriots. I mean, I wouldn't mind having that revenge game, but at the same time, they beat us last time, and we'd be playing them on the road again. On the road again. All right, so Terrell Edmonds is getting a breakout scenario. So hold the Browns to less than 200 passing yards, or get him a pick, forced fumble, tackle for a loss, or a sack. So what I'll think about doing there is maybe try and have a few scenarios where we send him on a blitz to where maybe he gets a sack or at least just gets a tackle for a loss on a run play because he's up there at the line of scrimmage already. We'll see how that goes. Let's go look at the stats from that game. Looks like it was relatively high scoring, but that obviously he had a big day. Edmonds, we'll see what that's about. Alright, so we ran the ball better than we have been. Didn't turn it over and threw for over 300 yards. They threw for 361 though. Wait, were they like behind and then... Well, they were, because as you can see, they put up 14 points in the fourth quarter to our 7 and still lost. So they were slinging it down the stretch to try and get back in the game. So that's understandable. We picked him off. We sacked him just once. Crawford, no interceptions, sacked twice, threw for over 300 yards, and completed 68% of his passes. So he continues to play pretty well. Najee Harris, the yards per carry are still a little bit low, but, oh man. Oh, I was like, Deontay Johnson only had one catch, but that's a run. All right, Jamar Chase, big day. Tyler Boyd, big day. Johnson was okay. Chase Claypool, still doing pretty well. Juju had some big receptions. Ebron, welcome back. He gets a touchdown. Nobody else super noteworthy there. Defense. We've got Cam Sutton, Joe Schobert up there with 9 tackles. Devin Bush had 8. We had 1 sack. And Watt and Shields combined for it. What about the INT? Wait, no. I don't care about that. I want the INTs. Where are you at? Edmonds had the pick. So he had 7 tackles and an interception, and that kicked off the breakout scenario, which is kind of interesting, but we'll take it. Okay, we've got enough staff points for another upgrade, but I think we need to set our strategy for next week first. Yep. We also have some player upgrades again, which is good. Okay, so these guys run the ball. We got to try and stop Nick Chubb, so yeah, we'll just go ahead and stick with defend outside run. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Blitz counter. Yeah. They've got a pretty decent defense. No real weaknesses, but they do blitz a fair amount, so let's see if we can't take advantage of that. And then, as far as our weekly goals, same as usual here. I'm thinking, let's try and sling it against this team. Try and air it out and see if we can't just kind of take over the game that way. I don't know. It's a little bit risky, but I think we're due for one of those games where I kind of just, I'll run the ball a little bit, but if we can get off to an early start throwing the ball well and just sling it around, get some looks downfield and run some slants and that kind of stuff, I'm feeling a game where we just sling it all over the field. So let's do it. We're going to get an interception, and I think that'll work. So 1 game left in the season. It's down to us and the Browns. And they're what? 13-3, we're 12-4, is that right? 1 game to go? Yeah. All right, so let's look at player upgrades. Just Cam Sutton. Putting on the slot. And I think he got a 2 overall bonus for man. Because he's now an 84 overall there. I think that went up by 2. I could be wrong. Either way, it went up, and I'll take it. Okay, so now what else do we have to do? Is that it? Oh, staff points we got to go spend. And then I think we're ready. We're completely healthy with 1 game left in the season. I almost want to sim it just to avoid injury chaos that could happen because I'm playing, but I don't know. All right, so we got 1 more. Oh, no, that's 27 points, and then that one is 36. Holy crap. So we don't have any more things to knock out before we jump into the game next week, which it's going to be a big game. And as far as the content, the good part is we kick off the episode with the game. There's nothing I need to do before we jump right into the action. So that's going to do it for this episode. If you have not done so already, please be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, comment below, and we will see y'all next time.
Good evening, friends and neighbors. Or shall I say this afternoon?